Chapter 4: Cooperation and Other Economic Systems. Economic system meaning, the word system refers to any set of objects which together form a functioning whole and to the relationship between these objects which link them up into that whole. The adjective economic refers to one particular aspect of human behavior. All human activities involve the use of some resources, material assets, persons' aptitudes, and time. All human activities also involve choice between alternative course of action and their combinations. Choice involves the consideration of available alternatives from the point of view of the intended purpose, i.e., the benefit value of the outcome, and the associated costs, and benefits. The basic economic problem is the allocation of scarce means among competing ends for achieving optimum results. The economic system refers to the method by which man seeks to fulfill his material needs. In order to achieve this end, every economic system must devise appropriate institutional structure. Institutions are the means with which the actions of social units occur. All the economic institutions, such as factories, banks, trade unions, markets, cooperative societies, and other business firms, are the components of the economic system. The aggregate of all these institutions and the underlying guiding principles relating to their organization and the distribution of wealth constitute the economic system. After deciding about the institutions, an economic system musts its attention on the method of production and distribution of goods and services. Thus, an economic system is an assemblage or aggregation of the numerous economic institutions which are concerned with production, exchange, distribution, and consumption of various goods and services, or in other terms, wealth. Objective of an economic system. First, it must produce in any given period consumer goods as well as capital goods needed for consumption and to sustain required productivity in the economy. Second, it must maintain the productive system machinery, equipment, and tools, etc., in a state of efficiency. Third, it must maintain requisite services such as banking, insurance, and other services. Fourth, all productive operations should be carried on under stable economic conditions and with the opportunity of full employment to all. Fifth, it must be provided for the recreation, health, education, and protection of people individually and as a nation. Sixth, all above objectives should be accomplished efficiently and honestly. Types of economic systems. The underlying basic issues relating to an economic system are with whom the ownership of means of production vests, whether with individuals or association of individuals, or with the nation as whole, what forms of economic activities are organized, who exercise the economic power, and on what basis, how are the prices of products and services determined, how the product is distributed among the factors of production, what is importance given to human beings and values in the economic institutions. With reference to these questions, different basic types of economic system have been emerged. Cooperation and capitalism. Meaning and definition. According to A.G. Pigou, a capitalistic economy or capitalist system is one in which the material instruments of production are owned and hired by private persons and are operated at their orders with a view to selling at a profit the goods or services that they help to produce. Capitalism is a system of economic organization in which business and industries are organized and carried on for profit by private enterprises with a minimum of government interference. Features. The essential features of capitalism are individualism and personal gain are primary motives. The private ownership of the means of production, private property and inheritance, competition in the market as the regulator of price and business activity, freedom of contract and enterprise, class conflict between labor and capital, and freedom from state interference. Similarities. Cooperation and capitalism have been viewed as same on account of the following points. Like capitalism, cooperatives also accept the right of the private property, the right of contract, inheritance, and right of private enterprise. The cooperatives also use capital to carry on the activities and pay interest for its use. Like capitalistic enterprise, cooperatives also employ managers and compensate them because of the equality of the service they rendered. Cooperatives also depend upon business efficiency for their success, just as capitalistic enterprises do. Cooperatives also lay some emphasis on profit. Both capitalists and cooperators generally oppose the encroachment of government in business. Differences. The following points are the main difference between cooperation and capitalism. In capitalistic economy, a clique of shareholders predominates and plays the pivotal role. But in cooperatives, it is each member who is its foundation and occupies an equal position. In capitalistic economy, capital occupies the most important position, while in cooperative economy, capital is reduced to a secondary position. Capitalistic economy is dominated by profit motive, while cooperative exists for service and profit is only a byproduct of the services rendered. Voting is done on the basis of shareholdings in capitalistic economy, while in a cooperative enterprise, every man has only one vote, irrespective of the number of shares held by him. Capitalism is built upon the exploitation of man, whereas cooperation seeks to end exploitation of man by man. Capitalists believe in competition and spirit of rivalry, which leads to clash of interests, whereas cooperation works on the principle of self-help through mutual help and adopts peaceful methods in a spirit of service. Money rules men in a capitalistic organization, while men rule money in cooperative organization. Capitalistic organizations are association of capital, while cooperatives are association of human beings. Capitalism leads to concentration of wealth and inequalities, but cooperation tends to bring about the equalities and dispersal of wealth. A capitalistic organization is a combination of the strong to exploit the weak, whereas a cooperative is a combination of the weak to grow strong. The evaluation of capitalism is towards monopoly, while the evaluation is towards decentralization. In capitalistic system, the capitalists employ the workers and undertake the risk, while in the cooperative system of association employ capital and undertake the risk of business. There is no joint ownership, equal control, or equitable sharing of the returns in capitalism, but all are owners, all are equal in control, and all shares equitably on the returns of their joint efforts in cooperation. Capitalism leads to booms and slumps, but cooperation leads to steady production as it prevents speculation and stabilizes prices. Capitalism exalts materialism, while cooperation strives for the development of cultural and spiritual values of individuals. Cooperation and socialism, meaning and definition. Socialism as an economic system emerged as an alternative to capitalism and to overcome some of its limitations. Socialism is a socio-economic system in which public authority or community owns means of production and operates not for profit, but for the service of the community. According to A.G. Pigou, socialistic economy is one in which the material instruments of production are owned by a public authority and operated for the benefit of the people at large. Under this system, the state owns, operates, and distributes all the productive resources of a community. Features. The essential features of an economy are as follows. All means of production and distribution are owned by the state. No private enterprise is permitted. The state takes the responsibility of employment. Central planning is the chief instrument of bringing about socialism. All social services like education, medical, and other welfare services get top priority and become responsibility of the state. Each individual gets fixed wages according to their skill and ability. Profits go to the state. Remuneration is made to each on the basis of his ability. Similarities. The following points reveal the similarities between cooperation and socialism. Both the systems lay emphasis on distribution of wealth. Both the systems have a common origin. Both lay emphasis on service and not on profit. Both lay emphasis on improved use of resources. Both lay emphasis on collective action as opposed to individualism of capitalism. Both systems are democratic in character. Both systems desire to eliminate the evil effects of competition. The cardinal principles of both these systems are equality, equity, and liberty. Both the systems are based on moral foundation and believe in human brotherhood. Differences. The following points depict the differences between cooperation and socialism. Socialism stands for the abolition of private property, while cooperation favors extension of private property. The object of socialism is public welfare, while the object of cooperation is service to members. In socialism, there is an element of compulsion, whereas cooperative is a voluntary association. In socialism, the central authority takes decisions, while in cooperatives, the members take decisions. Socialist economy is basically a workers' economy based on state help, while in cooperative economy, the consumer is the foundation. In socialist economy, the surplus goes to the state, but in cooperatives, profit goes to the members on the basis of patronage dividend. In socialist economy, the state officials exercise control, while in cooperatives, the members do it democratically. Politics finds a top place in socialism, but cooperative follows the principle of political and religious neutrality. Socialist advocates the use of force and violence to attain the objectives, whereas cooperators desire to achieve the goal by education and propaganda. Cooperatives in mixed economy. Cooperative in a mixed economy usually receives much attention since they can be used to bolster the free market and at the same time serve as an arm of the state. Customarily, the government decides the goals and objectives of these cooperatives and then lends money and provides technical assistance for the people to organize cooperatives. The operation of the cooperatives come under the close scrutiny of the government and usually cannot deviate from the government policies. In many cases, the cooperative's members are promised that government will be withdrawn in time, but often these promises are not fulfilled. Now, the question arises whether cooperatives of this kind are truly cooperatives or a concealed arm of the state. If governments in mixed economy are sincere in relinquishing control over the cooperatives they have initiated, then true cooperatives may eventually exist. Cooperative economy. The effective expression of cooperation depends more upon vision than upon techniques. Vision for establishing new forms of organization and new methods. It deserves to be an independent economic system. The concept of cooperative economy postulates the extension of the principles of cooperation to the whole society and wide coverage of cooperative organization in every aspect of life. The expansion of cooperatives horizontally and vertically paves way for the cooperatives system. In the creation of cooperative economy, three approaches are postulated. First, there can be a commonwealth of consumers' cooperatives extending backwards to the ownership of whole economy. By setting up production enterprises and farming undertakings, this arrangement has a strong point from the distribution point of view. Secondly, the cooperative economy may be composed of producers' cooperatives. The concept of producers' cooperatives provides greater scope for the direct participation of workers in the production process. The third is the combination of producers and consumers' cooperatives, which will make the role of public and private sectors subordinate to the cooperative sector. The third model is workable proposition and provides at the same time consumer democracy and worker democracy, strategies for establishing cooperative system. Various measures have to be launched in order to establish the cooperative economic system. Some of them are diversification of cooperatives. All the primary groups of people, viz., producers, consumers, and laborers, should be organized into appropriate forms of cooperatives. Cooperative integration. Adopting the principle of cooperation among cooperatives, the cooperative organizations must necessarily foster horizontal and vertical integration in order to gain greater strength. Cooperative confederation. Just as the primary cooperatives join together and form federations, the federations of different types can join together to take the shape of cooperative confederation in order to safeguard their common interest. Cooperative association or joint ventures. Another type of structural development is the association of cooperative enterprises for business purpose or for setting up plants and operating them jointly. Harmonizing conflicting interests. A cooperative system strives to establish an equitable relationship between different interest groups in the society. Democratic dialogue. There should be a democratic dialogue between producers, cooperatives, and consumers' cooperatives. This can be initiated by joint cooperative council. Cooperation as a sector. The modern view of cooperation has settled around cooperative sector as a model or ideal before cooperatives. Those who consider cooperation as a sector feel that no single sector will be able to fulfill all the needs of the citizens, and all the three major sectors must be complementary to each other. Every sector must be encouraged to operate in those activities and sphere in which it is best suited. The adherents of this thought also believe in a mixed economy, and they see cooperatives as coexisting with both private and public enterprises, and all the three playing complementary roles in the national economy. Cooperative sector can be strengthened by means of cooperative integration and cooperative federalism. Cooperative integration. Integration is a process of strengthening the cooperative sector. Structural relation is considered to be the foundation of the cooperative system. The growth of the cooperatives and the unity of the structure depend on the principle of cooperation among cooperatives. Basically, integration is of two types, namely horizontal and vertical. Horizontal integration implies the general grouping of like business units under one administrative control. It involves grouping together of associations or units with similar business activities. The purpose of integration is to derive economies of large-scale operation. Advantages of horizontal integration. Cooperatives can increase their power by adding to their range of service, diversification. The similar cooperatives can derive the economies of large-scale operation and improve their operational efficiency. Cooperatives can offer effective competition to powerful, non-cooperative organizations. It enables integrating units to get the services of talented functional specialists. Vertical integration is the combination of different business units engaged in successive stages of operation, beginning from production of raw materials through distribution of finished products. The business units combine stands end to end, the product of one serving as input to the next one. Advantages of vertical integration. A number of successive selling costs, buying costs, and other handling charges incurred in transferring commodities may be eliminated. It facilitates optimal utilization of productive resources and thus reduces costs. It enhances bargaining power of the integrated firms. It creates an opportunity to absorb middlemen's profits. Production or distribution at the one stage can be adjusted more closely to the needs of other stages. It facilitates the flow of farm commodities from producers to consumers. Cooperative federalism. Cooperative federation is the central cooperative organization formed by cooperatives at primary or higher level for meeting their common needs or services on a cooperative basis. Just as individual persons gain strength by organizing themselves into primary cooperatives in turn may organize a central organization at an area level, the area organization may federate into a state-level federation, and so on. Cooperation as an economic system is essentially based on small-scale and decentralized cooperative institutions engaged in numerous forms of economic activities. Such decentralized small units individually cannot drive economies of large-scale operation at the same time. They have to remain compact local organizations in order to preserve their cooperative character. A strong cooperative movement could be built by having strong federations for different kinds of cooperatives. All types of cooperatives can organize their respective federations, get themselves affiliated to them, and provide strength to as well as derive strength from them. Types of federations. Promotional federations are formed purely for undertaking promotional activities, such as cooperative education, training, propaganda and publicity, or auditing or supervision. Financial federations are organized exclusively for meeting the financial needs of the member cooperatives. These are known as central cooperative banks or credit unions. Functional federations are formed mainly for solving the technical problems in production and marketing encountered by specific types of cooperatives. Pure and mixed federations. In pure type of federations, only cooperative institutions having commonality of interest are eligible to become members. In a mixed type federation, along with institutions, individuals are also admitted as members. Features of federations. Commonality of interest, democratic management, freedom of autonomy of the federating units, equality of status, and existence for the benefit of member cooperatives. Cooperation as a social movement. The term social movement denotes a concerted and continued effort by a social group aimed at reaching a goals common to its members. Generally, a social movement is characterized by the following features. A social movement essentially involves sustained collective mobilization through either formal or informal organization. A social movement is generally oriented towards bringing about change, either partial or total, in the existing system of relationship, values, and norms. Ideology is an important component of the social movement, as it distinguishes it from the general category of movements involving collective mobilization. When the movement becomes routinized with an established institutional procedure, it becomes part of the institutionalized system, losing its innovative features.